Hey everybody, and welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jerry. Joined with me today is the American Wolf, one half of the American Wolves, Davey Richards. Davey, how are things?
Great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Good, good. I know you're a busy man. I want to start into it. You're probably heading to the dojo at the minute, or you're heading for training? You look like you're...
I'm coming back from doing my training. I went and did some grappling today. Then I'm going to go train my guys at my gym later tonight. So, yeah, leaving one, going to the other.
Tell me a bit about it. The Team Ambition Dojo. I was reading into it when I did some research, and it looks like something I would love to get into. Like I'm sure a lot of wrestlers, starting off, or even experienced wrestlers would probably want to go there and get some experience from people like yourselves and Warhorse and other trainers.
Yeah, it's been better than I could have ever hoped for. It's we have a full, I didn't want to create just a wrestling school. I really wanted to create a training facility. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the independent version of the Performance Center, where it's kind of a one-stop shop. We have like strength and conditioning, we have, professional wrestling, we have character and development work, which, Warhorse is really good at. And then, I'm real big into like catch wrestling and, amateur wrestling. So really want to create well-rounded athletes with an emphasis in pro wrestling. I wanted to do pretty much how the Performance Center does things for WWE, but I'm not looking to. I wanted to make it more for people who are interested in professional wrestling, whereas WWE, they kind of scout talent from other disciplines, and which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to create kind of a version of what they do with this same level of training, but for people who are like, hey, I want to be a professional wrestler. So just giving wrestlers more options.
Yeah. And do you put on shows for the trainees? Do they get to have their own matches?
Yeah, we just started doing that, and it was supposed to be just kind of, I thought there was going to be, family and friends, and that's it. And I walked up there, and there's like 60 people. I'm like, how do these people find out advertise or anything? And they're like, oh, just word of mouth. And I'm like, oh crap, I need a promoter's license. This is against code. And the next year we had even more people, and so now it's kind of like, okay, I think these are going to end up being like shows. So yeah, now we've started to put we built an entrance ramp, and so it's kind of like I didn't expect to get into this part of it, but it's a good problem to have.
Well, they get to practice their entrances now as well, having everything inside the dojo.
Oh yeah. And so what we do is I'm always been more about wrestling. That's been my end. But whereas, so I didn't. I think me personally, I think one of the worst things you can do at opening like a training facility is be the only trainer, because I have my way, I have my opinion, and I have what works for me, but that may not work for person A, person B, person C. So I really am very grateful to have a team that, we have other people on the team who do other things. Some people are only into, like TV style wrestling. That's fine. Warhorse is really good at like character development and promo stuff. And we have a really good strength conditioning coach. So I try to give him kind of like how you get at the Performance Center, I think that's the best way to do things. It'd be like going to a gym, and there's only one personal trainer. That'd be difficult, So we really do have a team, and they really can, whatever a person's interest or deficiencies are in, they can really hone in on that and give them the best education possible.
Yeah. And are you taking an old school approach? I know you're trained by Paul Orndorff. He would have probably been a hard trainer. Are you being hard on them as well? Is it a bit?
Yeah, we're definitely, I expect a lot out of them, but I mean, there will be zero hazing tolerated, which has never been a problem.
Yeah.
We are hard on them, but the way I explain it to them is the worst thing a trainer can do is take your money and not give a shit, or not care. Sorry, pardon me. And that's something I'm never going to do. Like, if what you pay a month, you get your money's worth, because we do care, and it's never there's no hazing, there's no derogatory remarks or anything like that. But when we come here, we're going to train hard, and the trainers train right along with everyone, and I'm never going to be sitting around on my phone and looking up and, oh yeah, I got your money right. Yeah, you're doing great. I'm like, I've heard people are doing seminars and they just talk the whole time, and that I don't believe in that. You know, if it's a promotional or character thing, that's fine. But, you know, people, at least I think, you know, want to come train with me because of my wrestling. So let's get down there and let's wrestle. So yeah, definitely hard. I'm not as crazy as Paul. But I'm also not as good as Paul. So, or Paul was, yeah, we you know, there's no, you know, making fun of people, and it very is much a team thing, and for a lot of people, it's really grown to be like an extended family. So
Yeah.
it's a positive thing. I'm very thankful for it.
Good. And your background, obviously, you're doing the grappling with them. Like your background in Muay Thai, and you've done some brilliant jiu-jitsu, and obviously you're an amateur wrestler, art like so. That kind of background, you know, starting off in 2004, something that I know you weren't big into wrestling going into it. There's something you might have picked up going into 2004. That's something that you mightn't have been interested in. Do you think the way you were trained?
Yeah, I amateur wrestled my whole life since I was 10, up until 22. So 12 years of amateur wrestling, and when I got into pro wrestling, I thought I was getting into pancrase. So I was like, "This is awesome." So I've always been interested in martial arts and stuff like that, and amateur wrestling, and just kind of along the way fell in love with pro wrestling. And so, if it was up to me, I love like Josh Barnett's Bloodsport is like, that's my kind of gig. I love that kind of stuff. But I understand, that's a tough market, I mean, and especially in, today's wrestling thing. I mean, the one-off shows do well, but to do that as a full-time thing, that'd be tough. So I incorporate a lot of that. I'm real big on like our lineage as wrestlers, which comes from catch wrestling. So I make sure my guys, like for me, the fundamental, because I don't come from a pro wrestling background, my fundamentals are amateur wrestling. I feel like you should be able to amateur wrestle, at least, hold your own. So I make sure they drill that. And I tell them too, I was like, it's very rare if it's happened at all, but it's very rare that you take a very good amateur wrestler and they didn't really pick up pro wrestling very quickly, like, Kurt Angle and things of, Danny Hodge and all those things. And so, I feel it's really important, and I want them to know like where our holds come from catch wrestling, whereas like they're real legitimate holds. If for nothing else, just protection. They can know like, hey, I can't put someone's arm this way. Safety is always paramount.
Yeah, of course. And just your style itself is kind of like nowadays is a lot of people with your background would have probably went into like MMA and stuff like that. Is that something that you would have loved to have done back then, like if it had been as popular as it is today?
Yeah, well, I thought I was getting into pancrase, so I thought that's what I was getting into. I was like, I remember when Paul told me to hit the ropes, I was like, why would I hit the ropes? I was so ignorant, because this is kind of the infancy of the internet, yeah, no, I mean, I do, I do like, jiu-jitsu competitions and grappling competitions, and, so I really enjoy competing, and it's all about, competition and, self-discovery, and wrestling's, whether it be catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling. It's always been, and still to this day, is just this thing that is like, just, it captivates me. It's like, man, it's just, you learn one thing, you're like, oh, there's 5 other things I didn't know about this. So it just gets more and more fun because there's all these things you don't know. So it's definitely for me my life's work, but also my life's journey.
Yeah, and obviously your life's work now. I know you took some time off and you trained up as a paramedic. Are you an EMT with the fire department, or are you a trained doctor as well? Are you in hospital?
Yep, I'm a doctor now. Yeah, I was with Impact, and they were nothing but understanding and great. And it got to the point where I just could not do pro wrestling and give it my all. And school at that level, which was medical school at that point. One of them would have had to suffer, and like I wasn't, I wanted to pass school, and I just never, I couldn't sleep at night if someone paid a full price to see me wrestle and I was half-assed in it. Like that's just, I don't believe in that. So no, I asked for my release from Impact, and they were so cool and understanding. I got nothing but good things to say about them, and I went and did school, and then when I was done with school, at least the majority of it, I was like, man, I'm really missing wrestling, and came back, and I didn't know if anyone would even want to see me wrestle anymore, if I'd been forgotten about. But luckily, it's been very good.
And has your new profession helped you backstage? Has there been times when you've been called upon for stuff?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, it seems just about every unfortunately just about every show, but yes, but it's sure great when it's not called the bunks. That means no one gets hurt.
I hope they're like paying you for 2 jobs. You're double booked like as a paramedic and the rest of it.
Nah, I'm there to help, man. It's all
Yeah,
good.
that's good. Just to move on, and I know you're with MLW now at the minute, and they have a big show coming up, and they've struck a deal with a new company, a new TV deal with correct me if I'm wrong, Reels. It's Reels over the Z.
Yeah, Reels. Yeah.
It's a new TV deal. Do you know how long that deal is for? Is it a 5-year deal or the contract itself?
I believe it's a 5-year deal. I believe I'm actually, in the final months of my current contract with MLW. So, but they've been nothing but, they've been really kind and understanding, and they gave me a good platform to come back and and gave me some extra responsibilities so I could learn some new skills as far as like being an agent.
Okay.
And it's been great. I mean, they have a really solid product, and they have just, people like Hammerstone and Jacob Fatu, and Davey Boy Smith is back, Junior is back, and they just have Alex King. They have a really great group of talent, and they're very innovative in their own right, and the production quality is great. So I really highly my time there.
Okay, and do you think you'll sign on for an extension with them if the TV deal goes well? Like if it's going to be, TV show as opposed to wrestling show, are they going to go down that route of having, executive producers or people running the show, or are they just going to be left alone?
I have to be diplomatic here. I've got I have interest from some other places, and it may be time for me to move on. Maybe not. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be an interesting year for everybody. But regardless, with or without me, MLW is still an awesome product and will be just fine. And I still, with or without me, I highly recommend everyone check them out.
Yeah, it's a good. Anytime I get a chance to watch it, like it's always a special show. Like it's because we don't get to see it over here as often as you'd get in America. Like every time you sit down to watch it, you're intrigued, like because you're learning about all these new characters and these new people you've never seen. It's great to see. I love getting to see new people I've never seen wrestle before. It's always
right.
Figure out where they came from, their background, and it's always good when you have new companies starting off like that. Obviously, they're not a new company, but having a TV deal. You mentioned obviously you're coming up with obviously your history in Ring of Honor and Ring of Honor being under the AEW umbrella at the minute. Is that something? I know you've been. Yeah, I know you're probably go back a long way with Kenny Omega. I know you trained together with him. And has there ever been contact, or have they been trying to get you to come over?
There's been contact. I can't. It's always
you don't have to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're I'm kind of. I can't legally say a lot, but there's been contact.
Cool.
So
no, that's fine. Yeah, and just to touch on the news about your friend that was obviously it shocked the wrestling world a few weeks back with Jay Briscoe passing away. Has that has it gone yet? Has a feeling
no
his passing?
No. Because me being a paramedic and a physician, I see death a lot. So I'm almost kind of numb to it, which you kind of need to be to work in emergency medicine, because you got to keep your cool and keep thinking straight in like really tumultuous times. But so I think if anyone would have been prepared to handle that news, it would have been me. And man, it hit me. It hit me like a semi truck. I just I don't know, man. Sometimes life can be so unfair, and it's Jay was, such, it's not even about the wrestling, Jay is such a good such a good father, a good friend, a good locker room leader, a good mentor. He just the world needs more people like Jay Briscoe.
Yeah,
and he'll be missed forever.
Thankfully his legacy will live on for a long time. The way he's, the way people have been talking about him since it happened, it's been
absolutely
phenomenal to get to see that outpouring for him and his family. Just before we go into the OTT, you have a show coming up this weekend, and you're fighting Lio Rush in the SuperFight. Can you tell me, is this their first time facing Lio Rush?
No, I wrestled Lio Rush twice. I wrestled him and Defy Wrestling in Seattle for the CZW title. And then I wrestled him at PWG few months, maybe 6 months ago. And we've always had really good chemistry. He's always someone who I really look forward to wrestling. He's, obviously extremely athletic, but he's very innovative, kind of thinks outside the box. And I like people like that because they push me to get better. And, I'm always looking to get better. And now we could do an MLW. And actually, this will be our first time ever wrestling on the East Coast. So it'll be fun. I look forward to it a lot. And Philly's a great crowd, as always. So it's something I think we're both looking forward to.
And where can people catch that? Is it on Fight TV or?
That will be on MLW's channel, and that airs on Thursdays, and I think that show will air in 2 weeks.
Okay,
I believe. Check local listings. That's always a diplomatic answer.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to seeing that. Obviously now you're coming over to Ireland and the UK in March. Yeah. Just a few weeks after your big birthday celebrations. You're due to the match was, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but today the match in Wolverhampton on the 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, you're due to face Dan Maloney.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Dan? Have you seen him time?
I know Dan. I remember when Dan was probably 100. Well, you guys, I don't know if in Ireland, but I know in Britain they do stone, but in America we do pounds. But man, I remember when he was a skinny little dude, and now he's a flipping monster. So yeah, he's been around, man. And I remember I would help train him at Future Shock Wrestling School a little bit, and he really stuck with it, and good for him. And I'm looking forward to it. That's actually my son's birthday, so and Wolverhampton is where the American Wolves were born. That's where I thought of the name. That's where the name
was it after the soccer team Wolves, the Wolverhampton Wanderers?
I was in my hotel room, and I had gotten word that they were going to start tagging at me and Eddie Edwards, and I was like, man, we're just like the British Bulldogs, but we're not British, we're American. I was looking out the window, and I saw that soccer team Wolves, and I was like, we're the American Wolves. And that's where I thought of it.
Brilliant. That's phenomenal. Brilliant. The next day, obviously, I know there's two shows, one on the 18th in Dublin and the other one on the 19th. There no matches have been announced yet, but is this your first time? Will it be your first time in Ireland wrestling?
Yeah, I have been trying to get over to Ireland. Oh my God. I don't want to say how long, because that'll really age me, but a long time. And I've wrestled all these crazy places and never Ireland. And I've always wanted to go. And man, it's almost worked out a couple times with OTT. When Impact, the first year we signed, they did Ireland, but we couldn't do it yet because we had not yet debuted on TV.
Okay.
So we're like, dang it, man. And so I'm really excited. First time I've ever been to Ireland, so I am pumped.
Brilliant. We're really looking forward. It's going to be a massive show. We've got, John Moxley's going to be on the card as well. So it's people are really excited for it. We're looking forward to it coming up here on the 17th, 18th, 19th of March. Davey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We're really looking forward to, like I said, to seeing you. Hopefully we'll get to see you in person. I will be in Dublin. I'm not going to be there in Wolves, but we'll be there in Dublin for the show, and we're looking forward to it immensely.
Yeah, man. I look forward to seeing you guys.
Perfect, David. Thanks very much for your time.
All right, man. You have a great day.
Have a good day, man. Cheers. Thank you.